This is Tony T here from Tony'sPicks.com with our NFL Pick Show here. This is for action on Sunday, November 2nd. For more free pick videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We have lots of free picks on our channel delivered by myself as well as our team of cappers here at Tony'sPicks.com, making it a great channel to subscribe to. Hit us up with that like, that thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. Then visit our site, Tony'sPicks.com. We're a multi-capper site showcasing top performers in our industry. Click the links to the hot cappers, get set up to long-term passes. And guys up here like Sean Higgs, DeAndre, Brian Biller, guys you know from our live show as well as our YouTube video. Big performances there on our channel so as well. Alessandro here, guys. Get signed up. There's pictures to the page with best bets and more, locked and loaded, ready for action on Sunday. Our promo code TonyT at checkout knocks off that 15%. The link is in the description to get signed up. So let's go ahead. Let's get this one underway. We got Vikings and Lions for Sunday. Detroit has a left tackle questionable with their safety doubtful. Minnesota backup quarterback Wentz and fullback are out. Their left tackle and right tackle questionable. On defense, a linebacker and safety are questionable. Detroit has a slight injury advantage based on the Chow rating. The Lions offense has the highest health rating at 92.1, but their defense the lowest health rating in this game based on the players on IR. Minnesota fell to 3-4 after a 37-10 road defeat to the Chargers. The Vikings rushed for 34 yards in the game, and they're very poor in the passing game. They allowed 4.8 yards per rush to the Chargers with 212 yards passing for 8.5 yards per pass attempt. J.J. McCarthy was a full participant in practice, expected to get the start here. He saw action in 2 games, completing just 58% of his passes with 7.3 yards per pass attempt. He has thrown 3 interceptions. Now Detroit 5-2, a 24-9 home victory against Tampa Bay. The Lions had movement in the passing game and rushed for 164 yards for 5.1 yards a carry. On defense, they held the Bucs to 41 yards rushing with 210 yards passing for 4.2 yards per pass attempt. Jared Goff here, 20-29 passes for 241 yards with a touchdown to pick. Lions come off the bye. McCarthy has been ineffective as a starter, and his bookend tackles are banged up. Minnesota defense is allowing 4.7 yards a carry on the road, along with 31 points per game. They have struggled with quarterback efficiency. Detroit at home is rushing for 5 yards a carry with great quarterback play. They defend well at home, and margin of victory at home is in by 23 points per game. The Vikings are 2-5 the spread on the road against winning teams. The Lions 14-9 to the spread as home favorite. Pick your Detroit -9. Chargers and the Titans going off here on Sunday. LA right guard is questionable, and on defense, a nickelback is out. Tennessee receiver Ridley is out with tight end Okongwu questionable. On defense, an end, linebacker, and safety out. Tennessee has a significant injury advantage here based on the channel rating by plus 8.0. LA has injury ratings in the mid-70s on offense and defense based on their players on IR. Tennessee has a low injury rating, though, 77.4 on defense. So the defense there for Tennessee, very low rating. There, LA now 5-3 after a 37-10 home victory against Minnesota. The Chargers had really good movement in the passing game and rushed for 207 yards for 4.8 yards a carry. On defense, they limited the Vikings to 34 rushing yards with 130 passing for 4.2 yards a carry. Justin Herbert in the game, 18-25 passing for 227 yards with 3 touchdowns and a pick. He rushed for 62 yards in the game. Tennessee now 1-7 after a 38-14 road defeat at Indianapolis. Titans had some movement in the passing game and rushed for 113 yards for 4.5 yards a carry. They allowed 420 yards to the Colts offense with poor work against the pass and run. Cam Ward in the game, 22 of 38 passing for 259 yards with a touchdown and a pick. Tennessee 0-3 at home with losses by 14 points or greater. And Tennessee at home giving up 35 points a game with 5.2 yards per rush, 77% completions allowed for nearly 9 yards per pass attempt. The Chargers rushed for nearly 6 yards a carry on the road, which can open up downfield passing for them. LA 5-2 as a road favorite of 3.5 to 9.5 points. Tennessee 0-5 the spread at home, facing teams that average 5.65 yards per play or greater. Pick here will be Chargers -9.5. Panthers and Packers going off on Sunday. Carolina center is out with left guard and right tackle questionable. On defensive linebacker and safety are questionable. Green Bay linebacker questionable here. Panthers fell to 4-4 with their 40-9 home defeat to Buffalo. The Panthers were ineffective in the passing game and rushed for 114 yards for 4 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 7.2 yards per pass attempt, but 245 yards rushing for 7 yards per pass attempt. Bryce Young missed the game due to injury and expected to return. Green Bay 5-1-1 after a 35-25 road win at Pittsburgh. Packers had a huge passing game here, 94 yards for 3.6 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed 5.6 yards per rush, with 93 yards rushing for 5.2 yards a carry. Gordon Jordan led in the game, 29 of 37 for 360 yards and 3 touchdowns. The Packers have been able to cover 4 of 5 as a favorite. The Panthers have covered 5 of 6 with Young at quarterback. Carolina has defended the pass well on the road. The Packers 1-2 the spread when favored by 7.5 to 14 points at home. Pick here Carolina plus 13. Bears and the Bengals going off here on action for Sunday. All right, we've got running back Swift out for Chicago. Quarterback Joe Flacco, question mark here for Cincinnati. On defense and end and linebacker are doubtful. Chicago has a clear injury advantage based on the channel ratings. The Bears offense has the highest rating at 90.4, with the Bengals defense the lowest rating, just around 82. Chicago fell to 4-3 after a 30-16 road defeat to Baltimore. The Bears rushed for 96 yards for 4.2 yards a carry and had movement in the passing game. They allowed 177 yards rushing to the Ravens for 5.1 yards a carry with 8 yards per pass attempt. Caleb Williams in the game, 25 of 38 passes for 285 yards with an interception. Cincinnati sits at 3-5 after a 39-38 home defeat to New York Jets. The Bengals rushed for 181 yards for about 8 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 512 yards to the Jets with poor work against the run and pass. Joe Flacco, 21 of 34 passes for 223 yards with 2 touchdowns. Jake Browning was benched due to ineffectiveness. It's back-to-back road trip for the Bears. Their defense on the road is allowing 5.7 yards per rush with 75% completion rate for 8.6 yards per pass attempt. The Bengals defense at home allowing 5.6 yards a carry with 251 yards passing for 6.7 yards per pass attempt. Their playmakers on offense are healthy. Cincinnati has gone over in all home games this year. Chicago has gone over in 3 of 4 on the road. Pick here Chicago and Cincinnati over 51. Falcons and the Patriots going off on Sunday. All right, in this one, we've got Atlanta on defense and end and nickelback are out with 2 linebackers and a safety questionable. New England running back Stevenson is out. Atlanta is 3-4 after their 34-10 home defeat to Miami. The Falcons were ineffective in the passing game and rushed for 45 yards for 2.6 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 3.8 yards per rush with 197 yards passing for 7.3 yards per pass attempt. Michael Penix missed the game due to injury. He's expected to return on Sunday. New England is 6-2 after a 32-13 home victory against Cleveland. The Patriots had a big game in the passing game and rushed for 177 yards for 5.1 yards a carry. They limited the Browns through the air and pass. Drake May here, 18-24 passing for 282 yards with 3 touchdowns and a pick. He rushed for 50 yards in the game. The Patriots have won and covered 5 straight. Atlanta has dropped 2 straight on the road. They have been inefficient in the passing game at home, and New England at home is getting great quarterback play. They defend the run and pass well at home. The Falcons 3-7 to the spread as an underdog. Pick here will be New England here -5. '49ers and Giants for Sunday. San Francisco receiver Pearsall and their center are out. Purdy is questionable to back up here. On defense, and end is out with tackle and linebacker questionable. The Giants running back Scatterboo out with their right tackle doubtful. On defense, both corners are out with a safety questionable. But New York does have a significant injury advantage based on the Dr. Chow rating. The San Francisco defense has a very low rating of 57.8. The Giants offense, the highest health rating at 83.6. The team was Scatterboo out. San Francisco fell to 5-3 after their 26-15 road defeat at Houston. The 49ers rushed for only 48 yards and ineffective in the passing game. On defense, they allowed 475 yards by poorly defending the pass and run. Brock Purdy not expected to start here. Mac Jones, 19-32 passes for 193 yards with 2 touchdowns and a pick. New York drops at 2-6 after a 38-20 road defeat to Philadelphia. The Giants rushed for 3.2 yards a carry and limited movement in the passing game. They allowed 276 yards rushing to the Eagles for 8.4 yards a carry and 7.5 yards per pass attempt. Jackson darted in the game 14-24 passing for 193 yards with a touchdown. He also had a rushing score in the game. New York has won 2 straight at home against playoff quality teams in the Eagles and Chargers. San Francisco's lost 2 straight on the road and are playing back-to-back road games here. San Francisco defense on the road is allowing 4.1 yards per rush with 71% completion rate for 7.7 yards per pass attempt. New York at home allowing 19 points a game. San Francisco has failed to cover 4 of 6. The 49ers 2-5 the spread on the road against losing teams. Pick your New York plus 2.5. Colts and the Steelers going off here on Sunday. All right, Indianapolis defensive tackle is questionable. Pittsburgh has a linebacker questionable. Indianapolis has a slight injury advantage based on the channel ratings. Indianapolis now 7-1 after a 38-14 home victory against Tennessee. The Colts gained 420 yards with really good work in the run and pass. On defense, they allowed 4.5 yards per rush in the game with 228 yards passing for 6 yards per pass attempt. Daniel Jones here, 21-29 passing for 272 yards with 3 touchdowns. Pittsburgh fought a 4-3 after a 35-25 home victory against Green Bay. The Steelers had limited movement in the passing game and rushed for 93 yards for 5.1 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 3.5 yards per rush to the Packers with 360 yards passing for 9.7 yards per pass attempt. Aaron Rodgers here, 24 of 36 passing for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pittsburgh on the road averaging 33 points per game with 4.8 yards per rush. They have limited teams to 3.7 yards per run on the road. Looking here at this row, the Colts on the road. My mistake. The Colts on the road averaging 33 points per game with 4.8 yards per run, 71% completion rate here for 8.2 yards per pass. So it's the Colts with these great offensive numbers on the road. Looking at, and they're also limiting teams to 3.7 yards per rush on the road. Now, Pittsburgh's pass defense are very poor at home, giving up 66% completion rate for 274 yards per game. The Colts have covered 6 of 8. We'll take Indianapolis here at -3. Broncos and the Texans going off on Sunday. All right, we got Denver receiver Mims is out. On defensive corner is out. Houston receivers Dallin and Watson are out, as well as their fullback. Tight end Schultz questionable. No injury advantage based on the channel ratings here. Denver 6-2 after a 44-24 home victory against Dallas. The Broncos put up 463 yards with effective work in the run and pass. They limited the Cowboys to 3.5 yards per rush with 231 yards passing for 6.6 yards per pass attempt. Bo Nix in the game, 19-29 passing for 247 yards with 4 touchdowns and a pick. Houston now 3-4 after a 26-15 home victory against San Francisco. The Texans gained 475 yards with effective running and passing. They held the 49ers to 48 yards rushing with 175 yards passing for 5.5 yards per pass attempt. C.J. Stroud here, 30 of 39 passing for 318 yards with 2 touchdowns and a pick. He rushed for 30 yards in the game. The Texans won 2 of 3 at home. Denver on the road struggles with efficiency in the passing game and allows 277 yards passing for 7 yards per pass attempt. Houston at home completing 71% of their passes for 8 yards per pass attempt and defends the pass well. The Broncos here 7-10 to the spread as a underdog. Houston 8-4 the spread at home against winning teams. Pick here will be Houston -1.5. Saints and the Rams going off here on Sunday. New Orleans running back Kamara and receiver Shaheed are questionable. On defense, a corner is out. LA has a corner doubtful. LA has a clear injury advantage based on the channel rating. The Saints offense has the lowest health rating, with the Rams defense the highest rating. We have New Orleans falling to 1-7 after their 23-3 home defeat to Tampa Bay. The Saints rushed for 48 yards with ineffectiveness in the passing game. On defense, they limited the Bucs through the air and allowed 88 yards rushed for 3 yards per carry. Tyler Shaw will get the start at quarterback. Their second-round pick saw limited work in 2 games, completing 53% of his passes with 4 yards per pass attempt. LA 5-2 after a 35-7 victory 2 weeks ago in New England against Jacksonville. The Rams rushed for, they played the game in England, London, England, against Jacksonville. The Rams rushed for 3 yards a carry. They're limited in the passing game. They allowed 94 yards rushing to the Jaguars with 264 yards passing for 5.5 yards per pass attempt. Matthew Stafford here, 21 of 33 passing for 182 yards and 5 touchdowns. Getting very good pass protection in that game, by the way. LA's gone under in 3 of 4. New Orleans has gone under in four straight. On the road, the Saints are producing poorly in the passing game. LA at home struggling on the ground and allowing 3.4 yards per rush. No quarterback situation a concern here for the Saints going with a rookie. The Rams 9-3 to the under as home favorite. Pick here in New Orleans and LA under 44. Jaguars and Vegas Raiders going off here on Sunday. Jacksonville has a linebacker questionable. Las Vegas starters on offense, defense are healthy. Las Vegas has a slight injury advantage based on the channel ratings. Jacksonville fell to 2-5 after a 35-7 defeat in London to LA Rams. The Jaguars were inefficient in the passing game and rushed for 94 yards for 4.9 yards a carry. Trevor Lawrence here, 23 of 48 passing for 296 yards with a touchdown. Las Vegas now 2-5 after a 31-0 road defeat at Kansas City. The Raiders rushed for 25 yards with poor play in the passing game. They allowed 3.7 yards per rush to the Chiefs with 282 yards passing for 8.1 yards per pass attempt. Geno Smith here, 10 of 16 passing for 67 yards in the game. Both teams coming off a bye here. The Raiders have been competitive at home. Jacksonville's defense on the road giving up 304 yards passing with 7.3 yards per pass attempt. They have struggled with quarterback play away from home. Las Vegas defense at home allowing just 18 points per game, 3.2 yards per rush, 5.9 yards per pass attempt. The Raiders are 8-3 of the spread at home when lying between +3 and -3. The past 2+ seasons. Pick here will be Raiders here +3. Chiefs and the Bills going off here on Sunday. KC running back Pacheco and left tackle are out with the guard questionable. Their defensive starters healthy. Buffalo receiver Palmer out. On defense, a tackle is out with nickelback questionable. The Chiefs have a clear injury advantage based on the channel ratings. Buffalo has a very low defensive rating here at 68.5, and that's based on their players on the IR. KC defense has the highest health rating coming in at 92.7. KC improved to 5-3 after a 28-7 home victory against Washington. The Chiefs had a really good passing performance in the game, and they rushed for 148 yards for 4.9 yards a carry. On defense, they held the Commanders to 3 yards per rush with 200 yards passing for 6.6 yards per pass attempt. Patrick Mahomes in the game, 25 of 34 passing for 299 yards with 3 touchdowns and 2 picks. Buffalo 5-2 with a 14-9 road victory at Carolina. The Bills rushed for 249 yards for 7 yards a carry. They're coming off the bye week there. They ran more than they passed. Defensively, they limit the Panthers' passing attack and allowed 114 yards rushing for 4 yards a carry. Josh Allen here, 12 of 19 passing for 163 yards with 2 touchdowns and a pick. He rushed for 2 scores. The Bills have a home loss against New England. KC on the road is rushing for 5.3 yards a carry and getting good quarterback play. On defense, the Chiefs have defended the pass well. Buffalo at home has struggled to defend by allowing 5.6 yards per rush, 69% completion rate. Just prefer the Chiefs defense here. KC 9-3 of the spread on the road when lying between +3 and -3. Pick here KC -1.5. Seahawks and Commanders going off on Sunday. We got receiver Kupp is questionable for Seattle. On defensive safety is out with an end questionable. Washington receiver McLaurin is out with left tackle questionable. Seattle has a significant injury advantage based on the channel ratings by +12.2. The Washington defense has the lowest rating here at 74.3 based on the players on the IR. Seattle has high offensive and defensive ratings. Seattle improved to 5-2 after a 27-19 home victory against Houston. The Seahawks had some movement in the passing game and rushed for 118 yards for 3.6 yards a carry. On defense, they held the Texans at the 56 rushing yards with 198 yards passing for 4 yards per pass attempt. Sam Darnold here, 17 of 31 passing for 213 yards with a touchdown and pick. Washington 3-5 after a 28-7 road defeat to KC on Monday night. Commanders have movement in the passing game and rushed for 60 yards for 3 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 432 yards to the Chiefs with poor work against the run and pass. Jane Daniels will return under center after missing Monday night, but he has missed 3 games due to injury. Seattle comes off the bye week and it's a short week here for the Commanders. Commanders have lost 3 of 4. The Seahawks 3-0 straight up and against the spread on the road this season. The Seattle defense, 3.9 yards per rush, 4.9 yards per pass attempt on the road. They're getting good quarterback play away from home. Washington has a 1-point home loss to Chicago and beat the Raiders in their other home game. The Seahawks 7-2 the spread on the road when lying between -3 and +3. Washington 1-4 the spread as a home underdog. Pick here Seattle -3. For more free pick videos, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Lots of free picks on our channel for myself as well as our team of cappers here at Tony'sPicks.com, making this a great channel to subscribe to. Hit us up with that like, that thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it. And then visit our site, Tony'sPicks.com, for our best bets. Our premium plays are there. And, of course, our promo code TONY at checkout knocks off that 15%. The link is in the description to get signed up. That's going to do it for now. I'm Tony T. We'll talk to you later.